Blog Talk Radio.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush, and we have a jam-packed show for you today. We're doing a little training camp preview, talk some Patrick Mahomes contract, talk some Jamal Adams. So, as always, follow us Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. Follow us on YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. We're on Spreaker, SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple Play, and wherever else. Let me bring on Mr. Primetime, Kevin Sirkin. What's up, man?
Tyson, but Pat Mahomes didn't get paid yet, right? We don't know what the salary cap is going to be, right? Those were the two biggest arguments that we heard for the last 3 months about why the Jets couldn't pay Jamal Adams. So I'm just pointing that out to start the show. Hey, listen, this show is going to be about offense, but just to point that out to start the show, those were the two biggest reasons why we couldn't pay Jamal. Pat Mahomes didn't get a contract, and we don't know what the salary cap is going to be. Well, he just shattered not only the NFL record for contract, but all of sports. His deal could approach $500 million. So let's throw out that argument about the salary cap. And again, you got two guys now from that draft that got paid. So let's get into a show, Ty.
Well, it's funny, man, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, the excuse was it's a pandemic. No teams are spending money. Everybody's scared to spend money. You know, Patrick Mahomes isn't negotiating. Patrick Mahomes has no problem waiting. All these things got shot right to hell with the new contract. So I was like, all right. You know, and it kind of puts it back on Jamal Adams where if he didn't handle this so poorly, dude, if he didn't handle it so poorly, he'd have so much more support right now. You know what I mean? Like, because now it shows that teams are willing to spend. You know, we're going to see it. Teams are renegotiating contracts, are doing things. Like, things are starting to happen now. He hit himself so poorly, dude. It's just like, damn, man.
No, I was just going to say that. The fact that he chose to go this route, which, you know, again, like I said from the beginning, I thought he should get paid, but he handled it completely the wrong way. The fact that he chose this route, now, you know, he looks kind of just as bad as, you know, the Jets for either, you know, not handling the negotiations right, not having proper communication, or not interested in a contract at all, whatever, you know, was going on behind the scenes. Like, he would look perfect right now if he had just, you know, stayed quiet, you know, made it known that he wanted a contract and that he wanted to be a Jet for life and all these things that the organization said about him. But, you know, he kind of screwed himself now in the eye of the public, at least, you know, because he looks like the bad guy for choosing to do it this way.
Yeah, it's commissioned to see how he handles this, man. If he starts backing off and starts kind of like, you know, posting more positive things or trying to explain his case. I know he posted something on Instagram that Paul Parisi sent me where he was kind of explaining himself and saying how all his teammates understand and everything else. And I don't mind his motorcycles, man. I live next to a Harley dealership. But, you know, it's interesting to see how it's all handled. But it's like, listen, a lot of the excuses everybody used why the Jets shouldn't negotiate are all gone now. I mean, now it's just a matter of do you want to pay him? And because after 3 years is not a big deal. The money, the pandemic, all these things, while they are a concern and there's just some potential problems, like, you know, with the signing bonuses, the guaranteed money, all these different things, it can be done if you want it to be done. So now it's the ball's in both courts. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing when that happened, man. Like, yep, there goes that excuse.
Yep. Again, it's probably just going to go back to, you know, he's just a safety now. He's not a game changer. You know, we'll hear those arguments again. So here's what it is.
Yeah, man, to me, it's like, you know, a lot of things, like, you can't compare safety and a quarterback. By no means you can't do that. But right now, the way this Jets team is, they're nowhere near like the Chiefs. Jamal Adams is one of the best players on your team. So you want to treat him like that or you don't. You want to get a deal done, you don't. We talked about it for a month now, so we're not going to go too much into it. But yeah, I have a new – go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I was going to say really quick, you know, because I don't know if you saw DeAndre Hopkins' tweet. You know, there's 24 reasons why, you know, he deserves to get paid. You know, the Texans were up 24-0, you know, in the playoffs, and they blew it to the Chiefs. So obviously, if we want to eventually be a playoff team, chances are we're going to have to go through at some point Pat Mahomes. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a player like Jamal Adams back there for the next 5 to 10 years to, you know, who knows Mahomes and, you know, who could actually, you know, keep this defense as, you know, a top unit, him and Mosley together. Maybe we even add a pass rusher into the mix. You know, I think it's still important that you have a legitimate defense to win in January. So, you know, I think it's important to have playmakers on your team, and, you know, we don't have too many. So the idea of, you know, trading one to get some unknowns, it still doesn't sit well with me. But I'm happy to talk about something else.
No, dude, and listen, everybody knows where I stand, man. I made a case before all this nonsense started out, I made a case to sign him and give him a contract. And I was saying, I'll give him $19 million a year. I don't even care. I think he's that good of a player. He's dynamic, he's explosive, and everything else. But I have a new philosophy, Kevin. And I thought about
What's
this.
that?
I'm like, you know what? Maybe the Jets ownership is onto something here. They could be ahead of their times because Patrick Mahomes has Andrew Reid. He flourished, and now they got to give him $500 million. The Jets are giving Sam Adam Gase, controlling him for 2 more years, so he doesn't really flourish. So we got to get him at a discounted deal, and then you fire Gase. So actually, Jets ownership is kind of smart, man.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It's brilliant. This is brilliant. The Jets are actually holding Sam back, so when he wants a new contract, look at this, man. You're only a $30 million a year quarterback. Then they fire Gase. He explodes to that prime time quarterback, and we're not paying him max value. So that Jets are actually being smart right now, man.
And then Darnold starts going on social media, and he takes the Jamal Adams approach. God help me if that starts happening. I'll be done.
So, I get it. I'm trying to find positives, man. But what we're going to do is we're going to change topics because the Jamal Adams thing is super annoying. And we're going to start doing some kind of training camp preview. You and I started doing this on YouTube. Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. But, Kev, we'll start with the quarterback position, which we've talked about, but not really in depth. Where is this a position that's improved as opposed to last year? Is there better depth? What can we expect out of the group? And for me, it's like obviously Sam Darnold is the front and center, but they added Flacco, they added a rookie. How do you feel about the position as a whole?
I mean, I've been one of Sam Darnold's biggest supporters ever since the day he was drafted. I've always felt that the ceiling on him is that of a top 10 quarterback, and I still feel that way today. We talk about some of the inconsistencies. Obviously he can improve as far as his deep ball accuracy, his play action passing, just limiting turnovers, things like that. But, the flashes have always been there, and I think it's just a matter of, getting him in the right system, comfortable in the right system, and just getting him confident, getting him on the same page with, some new weapons and a new offensive line that can actually hopefully give him time to get the ball downfield to some of his receivers and, just properly utilizing some weapons, especially a guy like Le'Veon Bell that should, obviously help him, a guy that could take some pressure off him. Having Herndon back, I think, should be huge. So I just think the odds have been stacked against him from the beginning, between having Jeremy Bates and Todd Bowles, then going to, Gase and Dowell Loggins, the issues with the O-line, not having receivers healthy. It's just been, one thing after another, not to mention mono as well. So, if he could just get a full training camp in, 16 games, show some progress, I don't see any reason why this group isn't better than last year. You added Flacco to the mix, having that veteran to lean on like he did in year one, where he had McCown and even Teddy Bridgewater in training camp. I think that was really big for him, especially watching some of those practices, like those guys he would talk to almost after every single snap. So, to be able to have that in Flacco, I think it's going to be big because, Flacco brings a ton of experience here. He's won a Super Bowl before, played in a ton of playoff games. So, yeah, I think that quarterback room is looking good.
No, I agree. I mean, I like we talked about, the impact of Flacco just being the buffer between Gase and Darnold, explaining the Sam things he may be seeing on the field, helping identify blitzes, helping to figure out plays that he feels comfortable with. I think it helps a lot. I'll keep saying I sign another veteran quarterback because if Flacco's not ready to play, I want a guy that can play. If Sam goes down, that's played in the NFL, not, fails and not a rookie. That's just my personal opinion, but I think that the quarterback position could be an area of strength, man. I think Sam is that good. I think he's due to show improvement with the improved offensive line. I mean, this is, like you said, it doesn't have to be a gargantuan leap of like going to an all-pro quarterback, but you want to see him take steps forward where it's, and to me, a lot of this is mechanics, man. And that some of that falls on Gase, some of that falls on Sam. I think Flacco can help in that area too, kind of maybe pinpoint things he's doing wrong, maybe work on his footwork. But do you think there's some fundamentals he needs to work on to become a better player?
No, absolutely. But, I think so much of that also, like, it's a part of his game in a way. I say this all the time, and I know some people criticize it because, they'll point to it anytime he makes a mistake, throws an interception. It's not like I'm going to deny that, he has some issues sometimes with footwork and throwing the ball off balance. But I do think that's one of the strengths of his game, that he can do those things and make throws that not many quarterbacks can make, when being faced with pressure or on the run. He just, his arm especially, some of the throws I saw in training camp him make, 30, 40 yards down the field when he was off balance, off his back foot. He could put the ball anywhere on the field. And, I think he's only going to get better with time. And as he starts to, trust what he sees a little bit more, reading defenses, getting the ball out quicker, I think that's only going to help him.
No, I agree. So I think we both agree that the quarterback position we feel better about as opposed to last year. No disrespect to Trevor Siemian. He obviously got hurt too, but I think Flacco could be a much stronger presence. I think having Flacco could give Sam a kick in the ass too, especially when Joe is healthy and be like, hey, man, listen, if you're starting to struggle and you have a string of bad games, the Jets could, especially Gates, could pull a plug and say, listen, you know what? You're going to sit out a game. Where last year they didn't have that luxury because they had nobody behind them. So that's something else to keep an eye on. Just maybe I think it's all going to help. Then when you go to running backs, they bring in Frank Gore, they drafted Perrine, they have Trenton Cannon, Josh Adams, Kenneth Dixon. What are your thoughts on a running back position?
Well, I'm still in the boat that loves Le'Veon Bell. I love the signing when it happened. I mentioned Curtis Martin. We haven't had a playmaker, like Martin up until now with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, we've been searching for that for a while. He brings a different dynamic to this offense, but it's important for Gase, I think, to be able to utilize him the right way. Whether it's putting him in the slot, getting him outside. The guy could do so much, and I know he said he was going to watch some of the Pittsburgh film and try to utilize some of that stuff. I think that would be nice, but Bell should be your guy, and the money you're paying him and the talent that he has, I don't think there's any reason why Sam and Gase can't lean on him to do a bulk of the work for this offense. And you look at some of the other guys. I hope Frank Gore is just a veteran voice, not really taking many touches. I don't think there's any reason for Gore to be on the field all that much. And then, you look at Perrine, and, if the future is without Le'Veon Bell, I hope that's not the case. But if the plan is to get rid of Bell, say, after this year, then, you do have to look at Perrine a little bit. Hopefully maybe he could be like Lamont Jordan. You look back to Curtis Martin and Jordan. That used to be a nice 1-2 punch where, Martin would do a lot of the work in the first three quarters, and then you'd bring in, Lamont Jordan and just smash the shit out of people in the fourth quarter. I could see Perrine maybe having a similar role to that. He can run well inside the tackles, but he also has that burst to the outside. He can catch the ball a little bit. And then, Trenton Cannon. I mean, that's a guy that I've been a huge supporter of. He can help on special teams. He's got 4.3 speed. The Jets offense obviously needs some gadget players. And, I think he can do some things that not a lot of other backs can do with his speed, on some wheel routes and things like that. So put the ball in his hands, and, speed is dangerous. So anytime you have 4.3 speed, hopefully you can utilize it the right way. But it also, it falls on him to stay healthy and also protect the football. So it'll be interesting.
Now, one of the points I kept trying to think of was like, all right, you have the defensive line that's going to be a work in progress. Now that you could be without preseason games, practices where not even no 11-on-11, no contact. Now, I think that puts a premium on the running backs, and I think the running backs are more important because I think the Jets, in my opinion, should run the ball to start the season. And I'll keep saying it because it's the smartest way to get the offense established, get the line in sync, get Sam comfortable without risking getting killed. So if that's the case, for me, it's like you build this offense around Le'Veon Bell to start the season, and there's no reason not to. And I don't want to hear Brian Costello tell me how Frank Gore is valuable and how he's this and how he's that. Listen, he is what he is. He's old. And I don't care that he had 3 15-yard carries last year. I don't care about none of these fancy stats you want to get me. I watched the Bills play. And there's a reason why Devin Singletary took his carries away. Because he's just not – he's old, man. I get the whole thing, but you drafted a young guy in Perrine. You have Adams. You have Trenton Cannon. All these explosive playmakers. Put their hand on the ball and let them flourish. Put the ball in the hand of Le'Veon Bell, whether it's out of backfield as a receiver or whatever else, and let him get as many touches as possible and build your offense around him. It's just like – we have to maximize the players that we have. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then if it's like after Bell, I want to see what Perrine can do. The last thing I want to see is, say they have 30 carries a game. The last thing I want to see is like 20 for Bell, 7 for Gore, and like 2 for Perrine and 1 for whoever, Adams. That'll drive me insane. Like, you want to see what you have in the young kids too. Like, get them all the ball with explosive plays, and build it around Bell, dude. Like, I think they really have to do that. And if Gase doesn't do it, he plays the whole running back by committee and 10 carries, 8 carries, 7 carries, I'm going to lose my mind because this offense to protect Sam has to get Bell going.
No, I completely agree, and especially when you look at the schedule early in the year, with the Niners and the Bills in there, you're facing some good defenses. So if you can't establish a run game and, you're just letting Darnold sit back there, they're going to get him killed. So obviously you can't be predictable with, 1st and 10 run, 2nd and 10 run. You got to be able to be creative, but at the same time, Bell is a guy that should have the ball in his hands at least 20 times a game. We've seen what he can do when he gets that. And I don't think there's any reason why, with a quarterback like Sam, that Bell can't put up similar numbers in this offense.
Now, would you consider the running back position an area of strength, or would you still add another piece? I mean, they talked to Devontae Freeman at one point. Would you still add another veteran?
I don't think it can hurt. I mean, with so many unknowns going into the season, I don't think there's anything wrong with adding, an extra veteran or two at almost any position, really, because you could be talking week to week about, guys possibly being out for a couple weeks and, vice versa. You don't really know what's going to happen with the roster and, guys getting sick, whatever, might go on. So, yeah, I think running back is a position, though, that I would label as strength as long as everybody's out there on the field and, obviously Gase is, using guys the right way.
All right, so we sound like we're fairly comfortable about the quarterback position. We understand what they have at running back and how they should use them. Will they? We have no idea, but this won't be a Gase bashing session. Tight end position, I think we all agree that Ryan Griffin was a pleasant surprise last year, became a safety valve. Chris Herndon is the guy that everybody loves to talk about, but we don't see enough of. I mean, it's just that simple. He has great talent, but can he stay healthy in case he got out of trouble? And if he can, he could be a very valuable asset. He could be a primary target in this offense that has some questionable receivers.
Yeah, and, the last 2 years at training camp, Herndon was probably the number one option that Darnold, looked for as far as a security blanket goes. I thought those two definitely developed a nice relationship over the last 2 years, and, he's obviously got the athletic ability. He could stretch the field as well as, make catches underneath. So, yeah, I think also, pairing him with a guy like Griffin is going to be nice. You could work some two tight end sets there. And even a guy like Trayvon Wesco, listen, I know a lot of people don't expect too much from him, but, Brian Baldinger, he's one of the more respected guys in football. So if he saw enough in this kid to, label him Baby Gronk, you would think that this kid at least, would be able to contribute in some capacity in a second year, whether it's, as a fullback, which we don't really have, or, getting in there a little bit at tight end. It'll be interesting to see if he can make a jump in year two and actually get on the field and, and do some things.
Yeah, I mean, that's so. I think if you look at we're trying to identify pieces to the puzzle. You say quarterback were cool, running backs they definitely have some assets there. Tight end position I feel comfortable if Herndon can just keep his act together. I think he could be a weapon. And then you go to wide receiver, and this is where, to be honest, I have my most questions where I'm not satisfied. I hope they find other people, but how would you assess this group as a whole, as an entire unit from, let's say, 1 to 5?
Well, I would say there's a lot of potential, but also a lot of question marks. Is Perriman going to be what he's been his entire career or most of his career, or can he be what he was, the last 5 games of last season, where he was a number one option in Tampa's offense, even though they were, throwing the ball, a crazy number of times, he still put up numbers as their top option. So if he could at least be a solid contributor as a starter, and if Mims can come in right away and at the very least, use his speed, stretch the field a little bit, he's great on contested catches. I think that could be an asset he uses well. If those guys can give you something on the outside, I think that the weapons that the Jets have elsewhere between Bell coming out of the backfield, we just talked about Herndon, and then, Crowder in the slot, I think the Jets can do a lot underneath and in the middle of the field with those weapons. So I think a lot of what this offense is going to do and is predicated on is what we get at receiver, especially from Mims and especially from Perriman, because beyond those three, including Crowder, you don't really have much, or at least as far as what's known. You have, Vincent Smith, Braxton Berrios, Josh Dotson, guys like that, but nobody that's really proven. So I think it would definitely benefit the Jets to add another veteran at receiver, probably more so than any other position, just because, if one guy goes down, you're in a lot of trouble, and that's not ideal for Sam.
No, I agree. I think, there's been the last couple of weeks a lot of articles on Vincent Smith, and listen, we need to see more. Like, he's got to be consistent. You got to be counted on, on a week in, week out basis. For me to say I think he's going to be a major contributor, I'm not going to do that. I don't need to fire out any hot takes. I just don't care that much for them. But it's like, Berrios too. They're all like role players. You need those breakout players. You need the guy where if the opposing defense stacks the box, who's going to get open for Sam? And can it, I could see Perriman and Mims. I mean, Mims, I think to expect anything from him early on may be difficult. Maybe by week 8, week 10, you may see more. But that's not the Perriman. Like, listen, you got to get off the line and get open. You got to find ways to do that. Crowder is shifty over the middle. That's where it's like you got to count on Herndon a lot more, and the running backs. Like, I think it's got to be a cumulative effort because they don't have they may have some game breaking speed, but I'm not sure they have game breaking talent as a receiver. You know what I mean? Like, you can make a case Le'Veon Bell's probably their best receiver. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
you don't really know how, or maybe Crowder is, but I'm saying in terms of it's going to be a group effort. There's not going to be one superstar, I don't think, on offense.
Yeah, and that could be fine too. I mean, you don't really have that one option that the defense is going to focus on, but that also can, in some ways maybe keep them guessing where you don't really know where the ball is going to go. It could be anybody at any given time. Hopefully that creates some good competition in camp. Guys know that there are opportunities available if they perform. And yeah, I still think a veteran's got to be added just because, again, like if one guy goes down, you're literally talking about, whether it's Berrios or Vincent Smith, somebody like that into, a starting role. And that's just, you can't do that. After what we saw last year, you got to give Sam every chance possible to succeed this year. And, there's veteran options out there right now. I think Taylor Gabriel's still out there, Tavon Austin, guys that have at least been on the field before and played. So yeah, bring somebody in. Whether even Demaryius Thomas. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him, but he was part of the offense last year. Somebody that's been on the field and produced before. Give me a veteran option as depth. I don't care who it is.
And you made a great point. And this was kind of like, that's the receiver. But like, just say, God forbid, Perryman goes down for any amount of time. Who's your number one receiver? You're going to have what, Crowder and who? Is it Mims and what? I mean, you have yourself in a pickle then, because you don't want Mims being number one, a rookie being thrown to the wolves, against press coverage for the first time. That's a scary notion. Even if Crowder goes down, then it's like, all right, who are you going to slide over there? How you Berrios can be your guy. So they have some interesting decisions to make there. This is kind of why during the draft we were kind of upset they didn't draft two receivers. I hope they add more. You mentioned Gabriel. I like him. I bring anybody. Like, I'm not really a fan of Demaryius Thomas. I kind of want to get my biggest complaint, and I'll keep saying, is you want to get young building blocks to grow together with Sam. So in theory, Mims will be one of those guys. Hopefully, maybe Perryman can fall into that. Only a 1-year contract. Crowder, how many more years does he have left? You want a young nucleus to grow together. You want to keep replacing with receivers every year. So we'll see what happens with that. But then it's like you look at all these parts. You say, okay, they have a pretty good level of talent, not like any game-breaking players other than probably Bell, maybe Herndon. Then it kind of falls on Sam if you look at it. Listen, if this kid has got to make guys around him better, he's got to throw guys open. He's got to make great reads, make excellent throws. If he elevates his game, in theory, he can make these players around him better, which make the offense better. But that does put some pressure on Sam because the talent may not be where it needs to be to have a top 10 offense.
No, I agree, but I would also say that there might be more pressure on the offensive line to kind of erase the image, erase the images that we saw last year. Whether it was 3-man rushes and guys just kind of standing around confused, not knowing who to pick up, or when teams sent a zero blitz, same exact scenario where Sam was getting mauled by 3 or 4 guys at times. So I think a lot of it's going to be predicated on what the offensive line does, how much time they give him, and whether or not they can establish a run to allow him to succeed and hit those play actions and all that.
No, and that's the obviously the last position of the offense we'll talk about is the line, and it's like I think Joe Douglas did a good job of upgrading at center, upgrading at left tackle, upgrading the overall depth. The problem is figuring out what you have, where you have it in a timely fashion, and that is not going to be easy when you have maybe one preseason game, maybe 2, maybe none. Like you said, no contact drills, a lot less contract and practice. Like to pick out who do you want, Brian Winters or Van Roten, or do you want is Alex Lewis a starter? Where are you going to play George Fant? To identify all of that without legitimate game tape with playing together and how do they communicate all that. It's not going to be easy, man. It's going to be interesting to see. Do they go with the old reliable Brian Winters just based on familiarity from last year? How do they identify all this with all these restrictions?
Yeah, and that's a great point with Winters because the idea of replacing 4 starters on the offensive line in one season, that would be a challenge because I think it's more likely than not that Fant will probably start at right tackle over Adoga just because of what you're paying him. Even if Adoga, perhaps is better in I'm saying even if Adoga plays well in training camp, I still think the money you're paying Fant, he'll at least get that opportunity first. So that's one spot that's changing. Obviously, center is going to be McGovern. Left tackle, barring anything crazy, is going to be Becton. So 3 starters are definitely going to be changed from last year. Alex Lewis, he's going to be your left guard. He was there, for at least the second half of last year, most of last season once Osemele went down. And then, the other spot is Brian Winters at right guard. Whether it's him or Van Roten, I think it makes sense if Winters is healthy, that he brings at least, some continuity from last year. You decided to keep the offensive line coach in Frank Pollock. So, it's going to be the same kind of system. So, at least having 2 guys, in the middle that, kind of know what's expected, I think that should help a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's the one thing about having all these veterans is you hope that they can all get in sync faster and put together some kind of, I don't know, competent line play. But it's going to be interesting, man. Like that's, obviously the biggest story. We've talked about it a lot. It's like you got to protect Sam, and I'll keep saying it, dude. I think I'll become a run-first offense the first 4 weeks of the season to get everybody comfortable and get the line comfortable and see what you have. I thought Brian Winters would be cut. I thought once the team had the ability to give physicals, guys like Williamson and Winters could get cut so you could sign other players. They haven't done that. Who knows why? But it's interesting. I think if he's here, he's going to compete. If he's healthy, especially, he could be just as good as Van Roten. So we'll see. I agree about George Fant. I mean, I don't know what to expect of him. It's a lot of money for a guy that I don't really believe in, but hopefully he can become a mauler. I think that they're all more versatile. They're more they could, play numerous positions, but helps. And then you say, okay, the line should be better. We just got to hope and pray it is. So all the things we just talked about, going into training camp, what is a realistic expectation for this offense? I mean, do you think it's obviously going to be improved from last year, which isn't saying much because it was one of the worst offenses I've ever seen? I mean, what is a realistic expectations going into, August 1st?
I mean, I expect them to be somewhat middle of the pack, if not a little bit better. I mean, you have an offensive-minded head coach and a guy that I think a lot of people do believe in Sam as your quarterback. And going into, year 3, you're in the same system finally. I know there's obviously going to be some challenges this offseason, but it's the same system, and you've improved the offensive line. You have at least a couple weapons that you can rely on and a few more that at least have some speed. So, yeah, show as a head coach that, you can use these pieces the right way. And, for Sam, he's obviously got to make the plays when they're in front of him. If guys are open, he's got to hit it. And, yeah, I think the expectations obviously go up, but, to what extent, I'm not really sure because I think there's a lot of factors in play here. You're obviously also facing teams that are a lot better, some better defenses this year. Last year they kind of got lucky in some games, whether it be injuries or just a weak schedule. So, there's a chance that they could play better, but the numbers might not even show it.
Okay, give me a sleeper player for this offense.
Ooh, sleeper player. You know what? I'm gonna give you 2, because I think one of these guys are going to step up on the offensive line and see significant time this year, whether it be injury or just a chance that they start early on. Cameron Clark, 4th-round pick. Tackle. Could end up playing guard at the next level. I know a lot of people see him as a future guard. He's got some nice athletic ability, good run blocker, definitely likes to finish as well. And then Adoga. I know you don't like him. A lot of people hate him, from last year. But, again, I'll keep saying I like the footwork. I think he's going to be good in pass protection going forward. He just needs a little bit of time. I don't think moving him to left tackle did him any favors last year. I thought he looked much better at right tackle than left tackle. And, if he can step up and take that spot, obviously that allows you to, cut ties with Fan after this year. It's basically a glorified 1-year deal. So, yeah, you would have him under control for the next 3 years making peanuts. I think that would be big. He obviously knows Sam from USC. And, yeah, just the fact that they also cut, Ja'Kai Polite as a former 3rd-round pick, but they held on to Adoga. And they've, a lot of what we've heard out of camp has been positive about him, that they see a future with him. So I think that bodes well. If he can, step up in training camp and take a spot, that would be awesome. So one of those 2 guys, I think it's vital, because you also look back at some of the old Jets offensive lines, with guys like, Randy Thomas, Ryan Young, Kareem McKenzie, Fabini. Like, I'm watching all this old footage, and a lot of these guys, they were mid-round picks, and that really formed, the basis for a lot of those teams where Curtis Martin was, just dominating games. So, it all starts up front.
So our sleeper picks, you pick 2 offensive linemen. It doesn't speak volumes for our wide receiver group. It's usually like, I like this receiver, this running back, you're mentioning lineman. But here's a tougher question for you: Who is your one bust player on offense? A guy with some expectations that doesn't live up to him.
Oh, don't make me do that.
I'm doing it, man. This is why we're here.
I mean, the obvious answer, I think, is Brashad Perriman, just because he's being expected to replace Robbie Anderson. And there's going to be some unknown factors with training camp and, getting on the same page with Sam. I think that the expectations for him, because of those last 5 games last year, are heightened. And people are expecting him to kind of come in as that, number 1 option, because next to him or on the opposite side of him is a rookie. So he essentially is that number 1 option other than Crowder in the slot. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure on him. And just based off of his history, I don't think that the contract he got is really warranted. I know it's only a 1-year deal, but it's still a lot of money based on a limited sample. So, I mean, hopefully, again, I have no reason to dislike Perriman. I'm rooting for him. I hope that he steps up and earns a second contract with us. But, I'm not sold based on his history. I think that, it was a glorified 5 games and an offense that was just throwing the ball around. And, everything that he had done prior to that point said bust as a first-round pick. So that's kind of where I stand on him.
All right, prime time. So in summary, you're thinking this offense at the end of the year will be ranked what?
See, the problem with doing that is that you're forcing me to pick a side on Gase. If I say they're going to be ranked well, that means Adam Gase did a great job. And I think so much of this is predicated on what he does. Like, did he learn anything from last year? And if he did, I think this offense could be, a top 15 offense. I don't think that's saying much, but, somewhere from like 12 to 15. I think they could realistically be somewhere in there if Adam Gase learned from some of his mistakes last year, if he shows some innovation, uses guys the right way, helps Sam take some of those steps that we've talked about. Yeah, I think that there's enough here, if everybody's healthy, that they could be in there.
Okay. All right, prime time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Tyrone for a little bit, and I'm going to bring you back on so you can grill him. Because I have a bone to pick with Tyrone. So I have to unleash some things on him. So we'll bring you back on in a couple minutes.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Obviously, that's primetime Kevin Sirkin, who's doing a phenomenal job. On our Instagram, go to @TalkJetsRadio. He's doing a countdown with all really cool videos. And we're also doing YouTube videos, Let's Talk Jets Radio. We're a training camp preview. We're trying to change up our topics a little bit. And now we're going to bring on Mr. Tyrone, who, if you guys have noticed, has been doing a lot of helping us, co-hosting, hosting, doing interviews with me and primetime, everything else. He's joining our team here, man. He's a prominent voice who's driving us all crazy. So, Tyrone, welcome aboard. And I have a bone to pick with you, man. So are you ready?
Hey, man. Yo, hold on. First of all, before we even get started, because I don't think you want to smoke today, but I'm going to give it to you.
I ain't scared of your smoke.
I want to thank everybody that wished me a happy birthday. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I love you guys. Now, let's get started, Mr. Tyson. What's your bone?
So, Tyrone, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Mahomes contract? Because everybody told me nobody's going to spend any money during the pandemic because of the salary cap and this and that Patrick Mahomes isn't negotiating, he's waiting. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I'm going to say 2 things, man. His agent is amazing. That is a ridiculously good contract for him. Good thing for him. Good thing for Kansas City, man. They're a first-class organization. And, I'm extremely happy for him, man. The kid proved he won a Super Bowl. The kid is probably the best quarterback in the NFL, and no one can knock that. So he earned his contract. So, I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, man, like, this kid is really...
But wait, wasn't one of your points, you were saying that nobody's going to spend money during a pandemic, nobody's going to do this, nobody's going to do this, and now the Chiefs went and just blew up the bank. So it shows that if a team wants to spend money, they can.
Well, Tyson, one thing you have to look at, sir, is we're talking about an organization that's
Don't call me, sir.
Solid foundation. They have a solid foundation for the last 20 years.
Taking care of the best player.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to establish something like that. Like, a good organization take care of their players. I mean, we understand that. As football players, we understand that. As our organization, do we understand that? That's the key question.
But the notion is that but they proved that you can't spend money during a pandemic, and now you saw other teams renegotiating contracts, doing other things. So now kind of all these things we've been justifying the Jets' actions really kind of got a little dent in them now, don't they?
Hey, bro, listen. They didn't spend money during the pandemic. They spent $500 million during the pandemic.
Yep.
Like, that just proves that, man,
$100 million.
Times 5.
I'll be the first one. Exactly. I'll be the first one to admit that I thought that was just, reason not knowing what the salary cap is. So, to me, it seems everyone knows what the salary cap's going to be. And they dropped the ball. And it shows that. So, to the point of Jamal being mad, I kind of understand where he's coming from, man. This organization always seems to be, to do a shit show. Every time they drop the ball on something important. And I think that, that you make players feel a different kind of way when you do stuff like that. If they would have gave him a contract, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So if that's the reason, because Kansas City didn't give him a contract, bro. They gave this man $400 million plus. That's a lot of money during the pandemic. So there's no excuse. I don't even know what excuse Joe Douglas can even hold to say. So I'd be the first one to say, Tyson, you're truly correct, bro. I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't let it go to your head. I mean, I ain't wrong often, but I'm wrong this time.
So now I have a new philosophy, Tyrone, because now I think I figured out the Jets' madness here. So just bear with me for 1 second. Now, Andy Reid is so good that he had Patrick Mahomes just flourish, become Super Bowl MVP. They won a Super Bowl, all these things. The Jets are keeping Adam Gase to kind of hold back Darnold. So when his contract comes up, he's not going to want that much money because he hasn't really earned it. Then they can fire Gase, and they'll have Sam Darnold at a discount. What do you think about that?
Wow, that probably is the plan. I don't know how smart that is. You know, the funny part about it, Tyson, I'm going to say this, man. It just shows you a good coach. It just shows you a good organization. Everything Kansas City has done with picking Patrick Mahomes, and everyone was like, why'd you pick this guy? Everything came into fruition, man. So I'm going to be honest with you, man. That's a first-class organization. We don't know what that feels like, Tyson. We have never felt that good about the Jets. Even when we went to back AFC championships, we don't know how that feels. And, you know, it's this is why our fan base is the way we are. It's why it's so frustrating. This is why it's so hard to love this team, because they don't love you back. They don't play fair. They don't do the right stuff. They don't do what winners do. You know what I'm saying? We're so used to bad decisions and losing ideas and picking the wrong guys. And, you know, now we have a franchise quarterback, and you don't get this guy. You don't hire someone that makes sense.
Well,
listen, I was in the store. I'm sorry. Pardon me, wisdom for 1 second. I was in the store with my Jets mask on, right? This older gentleman walks to me. You a Jet fan? He started shaking his head. He was like, man, look, we finally got a quarterback, man. How do you feel about Gaze? And I'm like, bro, he sucks. He said, man, I've been wanting to say that my whole life. He said, this guy is a loser. He said, he came from Miami as a loser, and we brought him to us expecting a different product. He's the same person. So I hope and pray that he gets better. But, bro, it's ugly.
Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to go off of Gates and just focus on the players on the offense tonight. So Primetime and I went through, like, we're kind of going through the offense like a training camp preview, saying what do we have, what don't we have, what do we need. You're looking at the quarterback position, and we talked about Darnold for the last couple of weeks. We all think a lot of them. But what do you think about the position as a whole? Are you comfortable with Flacco? Do you think do they need somebody else in case he's not healthy? Do you like how they're set up there? Like, do you think the Jets quarterback position is okay right now, better than last year?
Well, I'm going to say this, definitely better than last year. The only problem I do have I'm definitely comfortable with Sam, and I'm definitely comfortable with Flacco. The only problem I have with Flacco is him not being available till week 1. That scares me. Just, you don't know, there's too many moving pieces, too much stuff going on. That scares me. The rookie that we actually took, I think, will be okay. I think it's a long-term effect with him, but I'm hoping that the league allows an extra quarterback to be kept, because with this corona stuff, what if, God forbid something happens and we're stuck without? And, we know how that lesson feels from last year. But if I had to make an overall assessment on how I feel right now about our QB room, I'm comfortable with our QB room at this very moment. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Like, we don't have to go too much in depth about that, because everybody knows it's all about Sam and him getting better this year, improve fundamentals, making better decisions. But now it's about all the pieces around him. Now, you look at the running back position, it's fascinating, and especially today with Brian Costello having this story about, Frank Gore and all this other nonsense. What do you think about, Bell, Perrine, Gore, Josh Adams, Kenneth Dixon, Trenton Cannon? Do you like the group? Do they need something else? How do you see them giving out reps? What are your thoughts on running backs?
I'm going to be really honest with you. And I've been saying this from day one, I'm extremely comfortable with Le'Veon Bell. I think Le'Veon Bell is probably one of the best running backs, in the league, and has been that.
A better year than last year?
He'll definitely have a better year than last year. I think last year, man, with inadequate QB play with Sam being out, with the offensive line being as awful as they were, I think Le'Veon will have a way better year. I'm looking for numbers from Le'Veon this year. I just think Le'Veon is a winner, man. And I think he needs at least 20 to 25 carries a game. That's how you get production out of Le'Veon Bell. Now, as for bringing in Frank Gore, I really wasn't comfortable with that. I thought that, prime time hitting the best. I would have run the ball back for Bilal Powell. I just think Frank Gore, he's old, bro. He's old. He has done his job, but he's old. The rookie that we got, I'm comfortable with. Josh Adams, I'm comfortable with. And I'm even comfortable with Trenton Cannon. I think that, if he adds a little bit of muscle, I think he'll be able to, he'll be able to do some things. I think the thing about Cannon everyone lacked is this kid's so fast. If Gates would have been able to use this guy in the slot or use him or spread him out, I think he's a mismatch for everybody. Ends around, stuff like that. Maybe a back screen. It's a good change of pace back. So I think even with Gore, I think right now I'm comfortable with our QB room. If they added another veteran, I mean, you know what I'm saying, being Bilal Powell, I'll be comfortable with that. I think Bilal Powell put his ass off last year, and that's sorely overlooked. I really do.
Yeah, no, I would have brought back Powell and Montgomery over Frank Gore. I don't get this whole infatuation with him. I don't care about what he's accomplished in the past 20,000 years. I'm worried about this year. But if they say they're going to run the ball 30 times a game, how do you break down those carries?
I'm going to be really honest with you. Le'Veon gets 22, and you divide the rest amongst them. I just think that you have to give Le'Veon the bell. I think you have to give Le'Veon the ball. He proves, man, he's better. He's better with more carries. I mean, and then, you know, you had the offensive line is going to be so much better. We'll now discuss that when we get to the offensive line. But I just think Le'Veon, man, he has it, bro. He has – listen, he's the best receiver we had last year. He's the best running back we had.
Could be this year, too.
Since Curtis Martin, I'm sorry. Exactly. And I think that if you give him carries, you know what I'm saying? So we have a coach that is so selfish that he would rather pass the ball than do something to win. This is why you have a loser mentality. This is why it's going to be hard for us to progress. But I do say this.
But we're going to stay positive, though.
No. I mean, I think Sam – I think the one thing that we're counting out is Sam, but I'll get to that later on. But, yeah, I think give Bell at least 22 carries a game, maybe Gore 5, and maybe the young man give him, you know what I'm saying, 3, and whatever else we need to disperse. That'll work.
Okay, so you seem comfortable with the running backs. We're obviously comfortable with quarterbacks. Looking at the tight end position, I think we're all, like I said earlier, I think we're all high on Chris Herndon. It's a matter of him staying on the field. Ryan Griffin, if he can stay healthy, he seems like he's valuable. Wesco, whatever. I mean, are you okay with tight ends, or do they need to bring anybody else in?
If Herndon can stay healthy with Griffin and Wesco, I'm comfortable with that. I think they'll probably pick up another camp body, but I'm comfortable with those two. It's just like I said, you know, if Herndon can stay healthy, I think that what he showed his first year was, you know, something to really believe in, that we really had somebody that could really help us. I think what ended up happening was once he got hurt and wasn't able to be reliable and got in that trouble, I think it killed everything. And I think that's what hurt Sam really bad last year. I think Griffin was such a surprise last year that it shocked us that, you know, he played well. So I would love to see those two guys on the field at the same time, being able to stretch the defense. I really think that'll really help Sam out a lot, and I think that'll really make us a stronger team. I think Wesco is definitely a good kid to be able to block. I think that he's built for that, and I also think he can help us in the pass game. So I really, like I said, I like our tight end group, and I'm being honest. Where we are right now, I'm comfortable with that. I'm not having no issues with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's a missing piece. If you have a threat in the middle of the field other than Crowder, if you can get Herndon established, that opens up the outside for your deep passes to Perriman and Mims. So that's kind of like you can see it kind of a strategy there. Now going to the wide receiver group, which I've been critical of the entire time. I'm not going to change anytime soon about that. You have 1 to 5, dude. What is your overall thought on the group, and how would you rank them?
I want to say, I'm going to say 3. And if I'm going to rank them, I'm going to go with Crowder first. I'm going to go with Perriman. Then I'm going to go with Mims. And anything but I have been watching a lot of Vincent Smith's work, but he hasn't done enough for me to say that. And with no OTAs and no training camp, I don't know how good he's going to be. I think the kid is very talented. He's very fast. He's speedy. You know what I'm saying? He's another Robbie, to be honest with you. So if we have a really good receivers coach, man. So I think if we would have had really a solid offseason with him getting to work and stuff like that, I think he would have made a bigger impact. But I don't count on Mims till like week 6, 7, or 8, and I've been saying that. It's just meant to be realistic with this. So we need to really add a veteran. I would be happy with that. But I think Mims, by the end of the season, he'll be good. I think his first couple of games, he might surprise us with some big catches. But I just think counting on him to be productive, once he's on tape and guys see what he do and what he can't do, he's going to struggle. This is big boys, man. These guys are going to jam you at the line. He's a really big physical receiver. So I think the 5-step drops and the slants and stuff like that will really help him. But running, longer routes and stuff like that, it's going to be a problem for him. So it really depends on how Gates uses Mims, how his production is going to be. But I think that if he has a real good chance and he comes in focused, he could be like old boy Samuels did in San Francisco last year. I think that Mims has that kind of talent. But I'm looking for Crowder and I'm looking for Perriman. I think I'm going to tell you my sleeper is Josh Gordon. Not Josh Gordon. I'm sorry, Josh Dobson. He's my sleeper, bro. I just think this kid might just put it together. I think when these guys come for these running gun, the running shoot offenses, it takes some time to get acclimated to the NFL. I think it takes some time. I think nobody's really giving this kid the time to be better, man. I mean, you know, you can snore all you want to there, big fella. Hey, he's on the team and got to roll.
I was sleeping on him.
What do you want me to do?
Come on, man. I get some sound effect credit for that one. That's some clever stuff right there, man.
Don't sleep on. But no, I mean, seriously, though, Tyson, like, what if he came in, bro, and then he doesn't have to be a number one, but if he comes in a solid number 3, that's, you know what I'm saying, we got it for nothing, you know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping, like, guys like that, you know what I'm saying, progress. I really do, man. Like, because we haven't drafted those guys, you know what I'm saying? Those are the guys we would have drafted 3 years ago that's not on the team anymore. So if this guy can produce and come up to any kind of level, would be productive. The guy is 6'4", you know what I'm saying? Should be great in the red zone, you know what I'm saying? If you notice, our receivers got a lot taller this year. So I wouldn't mind adding the veteran. Yeah, definitely.
No, listen, I'm not sold on this group at all. Like, I'll just be honest. I think Mims has all the talent in the world. It's going to take time. Perryman, I hope he's not a one-trick pony. You know, I think in order for this offense to flourish, it has to go through Bell and Herndon. That's just my honest opinion, but I'm just a fan, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on Sam to make throws and throw these guys open. So I'm just not sold on it. I think that right now, that if you're going to play the Jets offense, you stack the box, try to stop the run and get to Sam, and dare these receivers to get open. And if it's just going to be all deep passes, like, that's, you know what I mean? They got to find ways to be creative to get plays open. And it's going to be like Bell out of the backfield and Herndon over the middle. Like, that's just how it's going to go.
Well, Tyson, I think that you made a great point, though. That's what smart coaches would do. You would use Bell as much as possible to open up everything else. And our coach is ass backwards. He wants to throw the ball to open up the run, which makes no sense. But I really think that the level of which Sam will play this year, and then the one thing, when we get to the offensive line, I'll go more in depth in what I think about the offensive line. But I still think that the way Sam, I really think the light is on with Sam. This kid is hungry, man. I think Sam's going to be the difference maker this year, man. I really, really do. I believe that, man.
I hope so, man. He wants it. He's got all the talent in the world. I mean, we all believe in him. But then it comes down to the offensive line, and we'll start with this. Who are your 5 starters on offense? Because they've made a lot of changes, but there's going to be a lot of limitations in terms of practice and preseason. Could they go with a guy like Brian Winters just due to familiarity, or do you have 4 new starters? So who would be your prediction for the starting lineup?
Man, I'm going with. I'm not being funny, but I think Brian Winters sucks. I don't care if he's been hurt or not. He's missed a lot of assignments. He's never played good. So I'm going with Fant. I'm going with McGovern. I'm going with Lewis. I'm going with the big ticket, and I'm going with what's the kid we got from Carolina?
Van Roten.
Van Roten. That's the 5 players I'm gonna put out there. And I think that, but before it's all said and done, I think Clark will end up getting a starting spot by week 6 or week 7. I think our offensive line's gonna be solid. Listen, Tyson, the one thing nobody's saying about the offensive line from last year, McGovern, Van Roten, and what's supposed to do? Those and Fant. These 3 guys last year had 10 penalties. Bro, we have games with 10 penalties in one game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious, man. If you watch Ball Dinger's breakdown of our line, listen, when I say
but how much was that? How much of that was communication issues, though? Like, that's my concern. Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but like if the center's committing a lot of penalties, it could be the guard next to him just screwing up consistently, or if the left tackle's getting, or if the left guard's getting penalties because your left tackle is struggling. It could be a lot of things going through those penalties too, man.
But Tyson, if you watch these guys in the open field, I don't remember this game, but I want to say it was the Cleveland game when Le'Veon, remember he got stuck and he spent off guys and kept running and all the offensive linemen stopped. Baldinger broke that down, right? Prior to that, Winters missed the guy wide open. I mean, just straight ran right by him. He missed the block. Those are the kind of mistakes you can't have to be a successful offense, man. That's the problem, man. Our offensive line was our major issue last year, and everyone's talking about, well, we won 7 games in a row or 6 in a row, man. Whatever. That didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because the problem was our offensive line play. If we would have had any kind of decent offensive line play, we would have made the playoffs last year, hands down. And Sam went through what he went through, we would have made the playoffs last year, but we didn't. So now we're stuck with 4 offensive linemen, which is probably the craziest thing you've ever heard.
Playoffs?
It's the history of the Jets.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
Hey,
playoffs?
Listen, and then everyone keeps harping about our schedule from this year. I'm really, really not sold on how good these guys are really going to be. I just don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I think that we're gonna have to come out there and play in the beginning, and it sucks because training camp's gonna be all screwed up. But I really think our defense will travel. I think that Sam will play a lot better. The receivers scare me. Le'Veon's going to be Le'Veon. The offensive line, listen, if they give us top 20 play, Tyson, we're way better than what we were last year. You know what I'm saying? We were the worst offensive line in the league last year, 32nd, bro. I mean, that's pretty hard to do, bro. You can't even do that in your sleep, you know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to have a better team this year, man. I think we're going to have a better outlook. I'm more comfortable now than I was last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
so
believe last year.
What's your prediction for what ranking would you give the offense? Like, are they going to be top 20 or are they going to be 25? Or going into, like, say, as of, say, August 1st, where do you think this offense is going to be?
What do I think our beat writer's going to pick 32nd?
No. What you, Tyrone, the man with the plan.
August 1st? Can I give you two? August 1st and December? Can I give you two? August 1st,
sure.
I'm going to say between 20 and 30, to be honest with you, 20 and 30 in August 1st. I think by the end of the season, I'm going to say somewhere where prime time, say around 12 to 15. I think that right there. I think that. But I could say this, though. If the offensive line gets it together, man, I could say definitely between 10 and 15 easily. I just think we're going to be a better team this year. I think we have a better player in Sam. I think Sam understands that he can't depend on Gates. I think Sam understands that it's his responsibility to make the right decision and make the right calls. And I think that Sam is going to really, like I said, we're going to realize how good Sam is this year right here. We're going to realize it. And I'm sorry for all you players, all you fans that we need to get rid of Sam. You're an idiot to talk like that. You're really stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's just dumb as hell.
Fair. All right, so Tyrone, that's a good spot. You did a good job here. Now we're going to bring on Shaq because Shaq apparently has a lot to say. So, Shaq, what's up, man?
What's going on,
You
Shaq?
said we're going to stay on once. What's good, Tyrone? First time talking to you, brother. How you doing?
What's up, bro? I'm blessed. How about you, man? Let's get to the action, baby, because I know you got something hot to say, man, and I know we're about to argue in about 3 minutes. So let's go.
No, we about to stay on one side of the ball. That's what Tyson said. So we're going to stay on one side of the ball. I don't want to get started. I'll probably get started. I'm not going to drag you down to just hell with me, Tyson, because you know you agree with me every time we private messaging or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put you out there. You know what I'm saying? But
well, Shaq, start with the running backs, man. Do you feel comfortable with Bell, Gore, Perrine, Kenneth Dixon, Josh Adams, Trenton Cannon? Do they need more? Are you concerned how they're going to be used? Like, what do you think about the running backs?
Well, I hated the Gore signing. I didn't like it. Le'Veon, I like Le'Veon. I believe in him. I believe in the rookie. He just needs some time to learn behind Le'Veon. I don't even think Le'Veon's going to get any touches. To me, personally, the O-line, to me, did not get as good as everybody said it did, but I think it improved a little bit, but not by
hold
much.
Shaq, hold on. We'll go position here. We're gonna go running back. So if you have 30 carries for the offense, how do you give them out? So for all the running backs, your game plan week 1, you have 30 carries. How do you divide them out between the running backs?
I'm giving Le'Veon 20. I don't want to give Frank Gore any, but I'll give Frank Gore 10, I guess.
10? What are you, nuts?
That's
it? You out of your mind?
Do you think I want to give him? I don't even want him on the damn team.
The question isn't what Gase is going to do. It's what Shaq going to do. This is your team now. You're telling us what you're going to do. What I'm going to do was never sign Frank Gore and give the rookie some touches. That's what I was going to do. I'm going to give him 10 carries outside of with the 30. It is what it is. It's what Adam Gase wants. It's what he likes. So hey,
Shaq, hold on, Shaq. What if the rookie, really steps up and they start giving the rookie them carries? So listen, I think Frank Gore is there more of a teaching moment than the player moment. You know what I'm saying? I think the rookie emulates Gore so much. That's maybe the reason why they brought Gore in. That's my opinion. Listen, I wasn't happy with the signing either, man. I would have bought back Bilal Powell. Me personally, that's what I would have bought back. But what we asking, Shaq, though, so we're going to jump up the running backs, man. Let's get the receivers, Shaq. How you feeling about the receivers right now, man? How would you rank them 1 through 5, bro?
It's hard to do Mims because he's a rookie. Oh my God! Damn,
We got to give you some
I'm
coffee,
sorry.
man. You're
Hey
just
man,
like,
look, man.
Like, what
look,
you been hanging out with Steve or something,
Jack,
man? What
look.
the hell's going on over there? God damn.
look,
Jack is over there.
look.
Listen, this is how bad it is.
Sucking the life out of us right now, man.
Look,
damn.
look, hey, look. I'm sorry. I'm taking my green glasses off. I'm taking them off. Hey, if we have to rely on a rookie as one of our starters, I'm still baffled. Then you get a journeyman trying to emulate Robbie Anderson, and he's a journeyman for a reason. This is his fourth team for a reason. You know what I'm saying? 3 games at the end of a season is not going to change my mind. You know, but
True.
I don't think Sam got enough help personally. If you want me to be honest, you want to know what help is. You want to know what help is? Go check it out over there in Buffalo. Go check it out over there in Arizona. Go check it out over there in Denver. That's help. That's help. This right here, to me, is not help. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. This is not help. It's not help.
Jack,
you can't help a guy with a journeyman and a rookie receiver.
Jack,
I'm sorry.
Jack, listen, there's no complaints on this end. Trust me when listen, they could have got DeAndre Hopkins, man, for a 3rd-round pick, man. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. I feel you, bro. I feel you. There's no complaints.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love Le'Veon. But if it was an opportunity for us to give Le'Veon for D-Hop, I would have did that in a heartbeat. I would have did that in a heartbeat.
I ain't lying, bro. In a heartbeat. Yes, sir.
Like,
So Shaq,
come on.
No, so Shaq, if you like the running backs in theory, you like Le'Veon Bell, you don't like the receivers, can they make up with it with a big year from Chris Herndon? Would Chris Herndon help out this offense to kind of offset not having a good receiver?
If he stay healthy, yeah, I think he could do well. No negativity over there. We've seen flashes. We just got to be more, consistent, and stay healthy. When he's consistent, he's on. When he's on, he's on. He gave us 100 yards a couple of times or whatever. Gave us good yards when we needed it. He helped Sam out. Adam Gase got to get this together, man.
All right, so before we go to Gase, so you have running backs you feel okay with, tight end you feel okay with, wide receivers you don't. The offensive line, you could have 3 or 4 new starters. Who is your starting lineup? You, not Adam Gase. Who is your starting lineup for the offensive line week 1?
Becton. No, I'm just kidding. Becton. I like Van Roten. I like him, and I like McGovern. Lewis, I'll take him over Winters. Oh my God, he was part of.
You're gonna play Lewis at right guard?
That's the problem. I don't even. He's playing left guard. Roten could play right guard. I think Roten could play right guard. If that was his position in Carolina, he can play right guard because he was actually pretty good there. And George Fant, oh my God, he got paid. He was $3 million short of Jack Conklin? Are you kidding me? You telling me we couldn't throw out $4 extra million just to get him? Oh man, when we get him, a guy, I don't want no lineman from Seattle. Russell Wilson is always on his back. We just don't know because he's a great quarterback.
Shaq, let me ask you a question, though, man. And be honest, bro. Is the line better than what we were last year? That's my question. Is the better offensive line, what you see right now, what we have today, is it better than what we had last year at any point?
I think we're a little bit better. Not much.
A little bit.
But a little bit.
Did you see what we had last year, bro?
Yeah, Jesus Christ,
Jack,
man. Shaq, what
you can't. If you,
we gotta ask him. We gotta ask Shaq an important question. We gotta ask a very important question here. I gotta know, man. What the hell did you have for dinner, man? It had to be something that just pissed you off because you're bringing all kinds of negativity. You're bringing Tyrone down.
I told you. You're drag. I'm telling you. You guys are coming with me to this Jets hell. I just want guys to sit there and see. I want guys to see. Take the green glasses off. Just take it off. Look at the team look at the offense from an outside perspective.
This call is terrible.
This is why we are the laughing stock of the league.
Horrendous.
This is why we the laughing stock of the league.
So we got to deal with
the laughing stock of the league.
We got to deal with on this show. Just negative. This is terrible.
Jack, we are a better team.
We already trying to trade away our identity. We don't have our identity once he's gone. We won't have nothing. What else will we have?
We're just focusing on the offense, man. You don't think they're better? The offensive line being better is going to make this offense better? They can run the ball better, hopefully, which opens things up in the passing game.
The thing is that I feel like Le'Veon need more of physical guys. The only physical guy that I know, two physical guys that I really know, is Becton and McGovern. The rest of them are all athletic athletes.
That's two good ones to have.
Van Roten is a monster, bro. He's a ball.
I feel like Van Roten is more of a pass blocker. He's more of a finesse pass blocker.
Nah, but he gets dirty though. He gets dirty. That's what we need. Listen, Shaq. The problem last year, man, and we were just talking about this. These guys missed assignment. These guys didn't do it. It's why that's why I don't know why Winters is still on this team. I've been saying this for years.
I don't know why he's still on the team either.
He gets knocked down on a bull rush almost every time. So I'm saying, Shaq,
and he's
no
lost.
way, bro. You can say there's no way without Chris Herndon coming back, even with our receivers being the way they are, we are in a better place than we were last year, bro. You got to say that. There's no way. Sam's going to improve. I think it's going to be better, bro.
I'm praying to the football gods, but from what I'm seeing,
come on,
I feel like we're still going to be 7 to 9 wins.
So what's wrong with 9 wins? 9 wins is bad? Jeez.
That's the problem. See, that's the problem. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. Do you think New England expect 9 wins a year? Do you think they expect New England fans expect 9 wins a year?
Hey, Shaq, if you go from 7 wins to 9 wins, you know what that's called? Improvement. And probably a playoff spot.
I'll take the improvement.
Shaq, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it. Are you still working out, man? You running, jumping jacks? What are you doing?
Oh yeah. I just did it this morning. Yeah, I did it this morning and yesterday. I got 3 more days to go, man. I got 3 more days to go, man.
Hey, Shaq, this is my first time talking to you, bro. I've been listening to you for a long time, bro. I'm going to need your ass to be a little happier when we talk to you again, bro.
No kidding, man.
I'm telling you, man, Shaq, come on, bro. Oh.
When you go through 10 years of mediocrity, man, and you've been watching the same, we can't curse, can we?
Listen, you can do what you want. I'm just a host. I don't care.
The same bullshit
the
last 10 years. You can, you want to see some improvement. When you got fans laughing at us and laughing at me, Jamal Adams is getting traded. Your team sucks. They're gonna be even worse than what they were. That's bad. That's bad. Thank you. That's bad. I hope I made everybody's night tonight. I hope you guys dragged down. I told you. Hey, Tyson, I told you was coming with me. You coming with me.
Nope,
good night, everybody. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, man. So, Tyrone, how did you like the incorporation of the music in the background? Was that a good touch for this?
Bro, I've been listening to Shaq talk every week, right? And Shaq always keeps the same voice. The same tone. But damn, that's draining, bro. Shaq, man, you over here bro. I mean, come on, man. It's like Shaq is just like that. Listen, you can never start a show off with Shaq as ever. Shaq's like, look, man, he is just, bro, he is like, look, it's horrible.
So I'm gonna bring Primetime back on real quick.
Oh man.
Primetime, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's all the hate for Shaq? What's all the hate for Shaq?
Listen,
I feel for Shaq, man. I hear it in his voice and I feel it in my bones. The way he talks, I feel that way. I mean, I try to be optimistic, for the sake of the show and, just for the sake of engagement. But I feel that, man. He's hurting like we're all hurting. We want to see some wins, damn it.
I'm not hurting at all.
Hey, Primetime. Shaq feels like he's about to jump ship, bro. I don't know how much longer we will have Shaq as a Jet fan, bro. He sounds like he about to decide to leave, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, it was like, damn. Like, Primetime, you going to honestly tell me, man, we don't have a better offensive line than we did last year? no improvement at all?
I mean, I'd be shocked if we didn't improve on the offensive line. With the number of changes that we made, you invested a first-round pick in Becton. I mean, you signed a guy in McGovern who has a good reputation, starting quality center. There's no reason that this offensive line shouldn't improve unless, training camp is just an absolute disaster. Guys are missing time with COVID or whatever. There's still a number of factors, that are going to go into it. But I don't think there's any reason why this offensive line should not be better than it was last year, considering how awful it was.
So it's prime time. With that being said, then you're expecting this team to be better than they were last year, right? You're expecting that.
I mean,
he's setting you up.
I
he's
said
definitely
earlier,
setting you up.
It's possible that the team could play better, yet the record might not show it, which would be unfortunate. You're playing a better schedule this year, better teams, better defenses. So yeah, I mean, I think there's the possibility that could happen. Especially last year, you stole a bunch of wins against teams that, backup quarterbacks and, Duck Hodges and, the Bills backups in Week 17. I think there's a chance they could be more competitive this year against some better teams, yet, not win all those games. For me, it's about just improving every week, instilling some confidence in Sam, Gase showing that his offense can have an identity, like all these little things, like show you can make improvements in game. Like after your first drive marches down the field for a touchdown and a defense makes an adjustment, show that in the second quarter you can readjust to what they're doing. Just like little things like that. Show that we're a competent offense and you can get your quarterback to where he should go.
So what are you expecting from Sam this year, Primetime? I mean, to me, I've been saying this to Tyson. I'm going to say it to you now. I really respect your opinion, Primetime. I love the way you give your takes on it. So what are you expecting from Sam, honestly? What do you overall see from Sam this season? Do you see growth? Everything I see, the news pointing up. Even with Gase, I see him having a great season.
I see growth from Sam this year, but I don't know to what extent. Like some people, they're expecting that huge jump, right? And, I'm not trying to make this, a Gase bashing session, but we still don't know if this offense can get Sam to that level yet. I know Sam will eventually be there. He's 23 years old. I keep saying, you have quarterbacks that just got drafted. They're younger than him. He's got 2 years of experience already. Let's just see some growth from this kid. I don't want to put, a measure on it because I already hate all the articles that are coming out, trying to put the spotlight on him and not Gase. The last thing I want is for this kid to lose confidence in the organization or to want out of here or, to see all the media pressure. There's enough pressure playing quarterback in the city as it is. So I think we finally have a guy that has some talent, whether it's, some small leaps here and there or, that huge jump that we all want. There's going to be growth this year, I think. It's just a matter of how much.
Well, Primetime, do you think with Sam's blue-collar background, do you think he has the kind of ability just to shrug it off? The one thing about Sam I really like is he doesn't give two shits. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look, it's whatever. I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to get better. I mean, that's all we've seen from him. That's why I'm so excited about what this young man can do. I'm not putting added pressure on him. I just think that the player he is and the grinder that he is, he wants to be the best, man. I think he's definitely going to get there. Yeah,
and that's another thing that I like about him. You look back at last year, the ghost game after the Patriots and, coming back from mono, finished up the year, 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's done some good things in spite of a lot of adversity that he's faced early on. So I think he does have that mental toughness as well as the physical ability to back it up and make throws on the field. Not a lot of other quarterbacks can make. And I think with time, with experience, the ability to read a defense, getting more playmakers and a better O-line, as all these things start to come together, I think we're going to see Sam, continue to make that evolution. It might not happen all at once like everybody wants, but I couldn't be more confident that he's eventually going to get there. And it should be fun to watch. And that's, an important thing. As a fan, you finally have the quarterback, sit back, watch him hopefully start to become great.
And one more question for you, Primetime. I want to get your opinion on Joe Douglas. I know it's a little off topic a little bit, but I really want to get your live opinion on what you really think about Joe Douglas. How do you feel about him? I mean, I'm not worried about Gage, and I want to tell Jay something too. This is my own opinion. I think Joe Douglas could have any job he wanted. He could have any job he wanted. He's well respected throughout the league. Why would he take a job when he has to answer somebody that is probably not going to be there? So I want to know how do you feel about what he's done this off season, and do you believe in his vision?
Well, I mean, I've been more impressed than I've been disappointed. Certainly some things last year between the backup quarterback and the kicker. Like, little things that happened last year annoyed me a little bit. But, at the same time, that wasn't really his roster. He inherited it. So, to me, this offseason was like, this was the true test. He's supposed to be a draft guy. The fact that he targeted O-line early, I like that. He got Sam a receiver. I think he played the second round perfectly, with how he traded back, added some extra draft picks, still got his guy in Mims, and then used some of those other picks to accumulate even more picks. Like, that's the way you do it. So, if he could be that draft guy, I think that's the most important thing. Build through the draft. We've been hearing that for years. If he could be the guy who builds through the draft, I think the Jets are set up. They will be set up good for the future. So, as far as free agency goes, some things I liked, some things I didn't. I like that, we targeted or we prioritized the offensive line. I still wish we would have went after Conklin or, like a bigger name like that. But I also think that he might have had some cash restrictions that, we don't really know about. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. But, I think he is the right guy for the job for now. And it's just a matter of, continuing to build.
So
all right, prime time.
For the Gates at the end of the season? Go ahead.
What's that?
Tyrell, come on, man. We're not going to do this. Not do this fire coach stuff. We'll save this for during the season, man. We're going to stay positive tonight.
Hey, listen,
no more Gates bashing and fire. Come on, man. See, Shaq rubbed off on you.
I never get to talk to prime time, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, the one thing I enjoy about this show is I love when prime time comes on, man. Prime time gets every perspective. Tyson, one day you be loving Gates, next minute you hate him. So now you Gates' friend. This is how the show's gonna go tonight.
Listen, I'm not Gates' friend. But see, while we're to evaluate Joe Douglas now is hard. Like, to me, he has a lot to prove. First of all, the Jamal Adams contract. Second would be next year when he's $100 million in cap space to spend. Then I'll be impressed to see him when he does some things. This year he did some good things, some bad things, like Kevin said. But the Adams thing is his first test. And then next year when he has a ton of cap space to spend, because that's when McCagnon was a hero his first year here. What, executive of the year, all these things. Then 2 years later, he's giving out shitty contracts and he's burying us. So Joe Douglas hasn't had a chance to give us those big contracts yet. Once he does them, he's spending the money wisely. Like right now, the one we kind of question is Fant. We gave him, $9 million? We're kind of like, oh, maybe he's going to play right tackle. Maybe he's be on the bench. So next year when he has all that money to spend, let's see what the kind of contracts he gives out, and will we regret them 2 years later? What we're going to do, keep you guys on. We're going to bring on Dan from Howard Beach. I'm going to have you guys talk to Dan. So, Dan, what's up, man?
Hey, just give me like another minute and a half because after hearing Shaq, I'm still in the middle of slitting my wrist. You got to be kidding me! Like, not only we got to contend with COVID, people dying left to right, all this stuff. I got to hear about the negativity. Like, it can't get any more negative that the season might not even happen. Like that to me is the worst case scenario of this season, that we have no football. Give me football, Jets week 1, and I am a happy camper because all that negativity gets pushed down all the way down to the sewer. It becomes a cesspool. I want to see football, and that's what I want. And this is my question to you guys. Do you think that the season might be pushed off to October? Might be a possibility.
I mean, I think I said to you before, when we were off the air, I think a lot of what happens leading up to training camp is going to depend on, what happens in the other sports. If baseball, if they start and they're able to get through a couple weeks without any issues, you also have basketball and hockey trying to come back. Like, if these sports they're all able to operate, and there's states that are, continuing to recover without any issues, then yeah, I don't know why, the NFL would have to, push anything back. But, if states are, going back to lockdowns and, there's still so much that is unknown. And I don't know if they can realistically push it back, and start affecting next season, because then that adjusts the off season, that adjusts, the draft, and it affects potentially games in 2021, if guys don't have a proper off season. So I don't know the logistics of potentially pushing things back. I think maybe if you did have to start later, you'd have to eliminate some games instead of playing a full 16. It's a lot of unknowns, I think.
That would absolutely suck. I mean, it's just to watch your team to play 16 games and then maybe cut it to 12. That's like a 1977 season.
Yeah, but Dan, here's my question. This is the one thing I don't understand, and this is not to be completely negative like this. I'm a big UFC fan, and they're having a card every week at this point. And Wednesday, Thursday, even today, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, fights are being canceled because guys are testing positive. How is the NFL going to handle that? Say it's Wednesday or Thursday, and Sam Darnold and Joe Flacco both test positive. God forbid. We're going to have teams playing, fourth-string quarterbacks, or you're starting centers out. Like, how do you handle if your players become positive? Like, I don't understand how the NFL is going to handle that. Like, if you quarantine a guy for 7 days, do you miss 2 games? Like, how the hell do you handle all that?
Well, that's why there's going to hopefully be the expanded, practice squads, and that's where teams are going to have to take advantage and really have veteran guys that are ready to step in and utilize, these practice times the right way.
Yeah, but if it goes through your position room, like usually teams have meetings like a position group. So if the running backs are always together, the linemen are always together, aren't the chances that the whole group, I'm just it's hypothetically here though. If you lose, say 2 or 3 offensive linemen, it's how the hell do you handle that?
But what about changing the players instead of having 52-man roster? How about having a 90-man roster? Wouldn't that make sense? Or Sean Payton said, "Look, I might have me a quarantine quarterback who never goes in the room with the guys." That makes really good sense. He's an independent coach. I mean, the league has to bend some rules because we've never been through this right here. Like you said earlier, and we lose Sam and Flacco. In our third-string quarterback, I mean, we're done. I mean, we have Le'Veon handing the ball off to Le'Veon. Yeah, absolutely.
The only way that this would work, in all honesty, would to keep the teams together, which would sound horrendous. That they cannot go back to their families. That they would have to be 16 weeks all together, because the moment they start venturing out, the probability increases enormous. The enormity it increases by 100-fold, man. Just going to a club or a bar. Even now, things are open. You don't know where you're going to get hit.
You can get it at a house party, dude. You can go to a house party, a wedding. You can get it anywhere.
Anywhere. And, not for nothing, all the information that's being sent out there, we don't even know who to trust. The WHO, 3 days ago, stated that asymptomatic individuals, they can't spread it to people. But then they redacted that comment. It's like it's going back and forth. Like, who do we trust?
Yeah, but the problem is if a player tests positive, I'm just saying, I'm going by the UFC. The UFC had to cancel a main event because the guy tested positive. And now if his corner or his coach tests positive, they're pulling the fight because just out of precautions. So now it's like if the NFL Players Association already started it today saying, listen, we want to know what the criteria is for this. We want the protocols for that. They want to protect themselves because they have to go home to their families and their young children and their wives and everything else. So it's
100%.
I talked about this with Rob Carpenter because he played football in the NFL and he was like, dude, I don't know how they're going to do it because the locker room is such a tight knit group. You travel together, you do all these things together. You can only separate so much. And like you said, if you kept them in a bubble like the NBA is trying to do it, okay. But the NFL is not like that, and they're traveling all over the country. So I don't, dude. I don't really know how they're going to pull it off, man.
That's the biggest one right now. And on all honesty, I think they would have to push the season back until they have everything either under control and they have to have certain protocols even etched in stone, even better than they have right now. Yep. A way how to at least combat it, because it seems that every month or every 3 weeks to a month, there's something that comes out that can combat COVID, but we don't know. Because again, us as citizens, we're stuck in the crossfire because is it a political game? Is it, the Republicans versus the Dems? And it's ridiculous that it should be like that. It should be one party at this point trying to fight this effing thing, as opposed to vote for me, vote for me, vote for me.
But then the thing is, too, is just it's the real-time test results, too. Like, baseball is having that problem now. It's like the guys go in on Thursday, they take the test. They don't get the results till Saturday or Sunday, which is ridiculous. Because in those 3 days, they got to be in quarantine then. Like, if I don't know what my test result is, I can't go around, why would you go around people? So I don't know, man.
That's exactly my point, Tyson. That's exactly my point. If you test someone, you have to quarantine that person, put them in a hotel room or whatnot.
Until you get your results.
It sounds horrible. Until you get your results. I mean, that's how we do it in the hospital. Even before we even proceed forward in treating, we have to give them a test. And then once we get that back, then the consultation ensues.
Well, that's the UFC does, dude. Like Frankie Edgar reported yesterday. He flew to Vegas. The minute he got there, he got tested. He goes right to his hotel room, and he waits for his test result. He doesn't leave, dude. Like, they're all quarantined until they get their test result. That's it. So can the NFL do that?
This is not – of course. Look, not for nothing. It's not like me and you doing it. These guys are multimillionaires. The franchises, the amount of money that they have invested in these players, without a doubt, it's luxurious hotels. It's not like just a four-corner room. They need a freaking spa, dude. You know what I mean? Give me that any day. You know,
I'm curious. Like, are they going to be expected to test like every single day? And then, like you mentioned, like if there's a delay in the results, do you cancel training camp that day? Do you not have a practice? Like, how does that work?
Doing now.
Guys are still waiting. Yeah, I mean,
I think you would have to. You would have to cancel
doing that now.
it.
Prime time. Look at the baseball teams. No. They had their test and it took too long to get the results. They closed the facility down until they get the test results. Like, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
None.
Like,
none. You have to play this the right way.
I understand that. I think it could be okay. But with football, if you're talking about guys missing a significant portion of training camp, like 2 or 3 days, per week because of, delays in results, that's going to be a major issue.
Yep, it is.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's where, the whole Zoom thing plays into effect. I think after this season, everything's just going to be remodified, even in a digital aspect as well, how the OTAs are being done.
But Dan,
like last year with.
But Dan, won't that? I mean, you work in a hospital. Like, don't you think if you do everything through Zoom and stuff like that, and have all this isolation, in terms of injuries, just the physicality of football requires contact. Like, just in terms of injuries and everything else, and then just the quality of football itself. If your offensive line's not practicing together, 11-on-11 drills to become a cohesive unit, their blocking is going to go right to shit. The tackling is going to be horrendous. Like, the quality of football is not going to be good, dude. It's just not.
It's not.
Sometimes you just need live reps.
100%. That's why I keep alluding to that the season may have to be pushed off to either October or the start of November. It may have to, because all of these options and these variables that we're throwing out there, they're all real. It's a reality right now that, let's say if training camp starts at the end of July, all you need is one positive case. Training camp is shot. So you have now one team behind the 8 ball. Now let's say 3 weeks go into it, and at that point, most likely there's going to be no preseason whatsoever. Now there's another team that goes down to shit. Now another one. Season's going to start, in 4 weeks from that point? They're going to cancel the season. Well, they're